Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I am sailing across the ocean, across the sea. In fact, that's definitely not the sea. That's the Atlantic Ocean, and we're about halfway on our voyage to Bermuda, which we will arrive at in 3 days' time. So, I'm on my cruise, but I very, very really was not. So if we go back to day one of this trip, I was actually refused boarding on the ship. But I'll tell you about that in a second. But let me tell you how I got here. Now here is my cabin on the Norwegian Pearl, which originally sailed on the 30th of November from Barcelona. So from my hometown in the north of England, I had to get to Barcelona. So I jumped on the train. I strangely managed to get an Avanti West Coast train ticket for £16, I think. And that got me down to Birmingham, a little nip on their little shuttle train. And Ryanair was waiting for me. It was a Ryanair flight. It was quite a good landing for Ryanair. And it was a 2-hour bus ride to Barcelona. And I picked a fantastic hotel. The hotel I stayed at was the Hampton by Hilton. And they're modern hotels, it's their new brand. Yeah, it's clean, it's tidy. I will do a full hotel review video, as with all my hotel review videos. And you'll find that on the channel, and you'll find a link in the description on this video as soon as I've published it. You can also find it on my website, somebloke.co.uk, under hotel reviews, where you'll find the cruise directory, how I got this ticket for £488. But anyway, the hotel was great. It was equidistant between the airport and the port, so it was a short taxi ride in the evening and then a short taxi ride in the morning. That was the last thing that was short of the day, because the queue to board was ridiculous. Now, they give you a time to arrive, and my time was 11 o'clock. I arrived at 11 o'clock. But everybody was there at 11 o'clock. And I don't think there's a combination of, there are some people that join the ship because they just want to get on as early as possible. So it doesn't matter what time they've been given, they get there. But that's not the majority. The majority is they arrive when their bus has brought them there. So there were some people that had, I think, a 12 o'clock place for boarding, and their coach company brought them in at 8:30 in the morning. So yeah, those times are there. I think if you really don't like queuing, the ship was sailing at 6, it was 4:30, 5 o'clock, we'll come to that, deadline to board. If you don't like queuing, come down about 2 o'clock, regardless of what time you've been given. Come down about 2. Now, the one good thing about the queue, well, this is actually a fantastic thing about the queue, was there was a cafe that was sort of positioned right in the middle of the queue, as you can see here. I had a cup of coffee, I had a Coke, and I met some fantastic people. And literally last night I had dinner with this wonderful couple I met, James and Ada, absolutely fantastic, and we ate in the bistro. But more about that in another video. So anyway, so we get through the security queue. So now we're through security, that's great. I then bought some duty free. And this is when it all went terribly wrong. I then went to check in and they said, you haven't got an ESTA. I said, I know I haven't got an ESTA. Spain doesn't bring in ESTAs. So the ports were Barcelona, Cartagena, Malaga, Casablanca, then Cadiz. And I thought, what do I need an ESTA for? A complete idiot. This is some bloke who travels a lot, who should know better. The ESTA they were referring to was the United States of America. So I'm stood there at about 2:45. The ship is sailing at 6. The cutoff is 5 p.m. And I need to get a US ESTA online, which they recommend you do 72 hours in advance for travel. Now, spoiler alert, I made it on the ship. So how did I make it on the ship? Miraculously, my ESTA came through in an hour. And I was like, oh my God, the absolute relief. And when I got on board, somebody was joking, said you were the last man on board, but I wasn't. Apparently, there were 24 people behind me. But out of 2,300, that's pretty close to being the last man on board. Reason why I didn't get the ESTA, well, the first reason is I'm an idiot. But the second reason was I got the information coming through, And I just read the words ESTA. I had a lot going on in my mind, a lot of serious stuff, far more important than a cruise. And I just saw the word ESTA, and the knowledge that I had, I'd not been to America for years, not since 2008. I saw the word ESTA. I knew that Spain's bringing in an ESTA in 2025. I thought, oh, that must be what that's referring to. That's the only logical thing I can think. I travelled during COVID. I filled out so many forms, not just for me, but for friends who were travelling. And I was nailing everything on. But I nearly messed up this entire trip by just not filling in an online form in an app, the ESTA app. So, moral of the story, people. If you want a view like that for 488 quid, make sure you have all your documents ready and waiting before you travel. Double, triple check. And after you've double, triple checked, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the bell. Thanks very much for watching. In the next video, I'll tell you what it was like when I got on board. That involves things like free bar, good food, great people. So you might want to tune in for that. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.